2019, I sold 76 companies in 1 year for about 1.27 billion. Capitalism in its right context is very serving of the general population, because what it says is may the best service or product delivered in the right way win, right? With the right price. Capitalism in its right context is very serving of the general population, because what it says is may the best service or product delivered in the right way win, right? With the right price. And that part of capitalism is amazing, right? Because at that point, it serves the consumer. My businesses exist to make money, but my businesses should also have an altruistic look at serving the customer and having a greater reach than just the business itself. And to me, that's where I think capitalism in its purest form does the greatest good. Money, resources of any kind, I mean, money specifically, but really resources, really become the greatest revealer of actually what's inside, you know? And I feel like the money and resources we get is it's an amplification system of who we really are. And I remember having a real deep thought when I was making my first good money, thinking, who do I want to be? Yes, I can live a good life. I can up my standard of living, but in the end, it's like I want to make sure that this doesn't just serve me, you know. And so, I think that money is the ultimate revealer, and I think that as you see people, and they're obtaining this money with greed, you just find more greed. They take advantage of more people. For instance, it's like you take somebody like Elon Musk. You know, Elon's goals is he wants to change how we navigate not just our globe, but the entire planetary system. You know, and the more money he makes, the more it reveals his real desire, which is like to really change how we navigate everything, you know. And it's like from cars to rockets to trains to, and it's like it really just kind of reveals who Elon was. Well, if Elon was sitting there broke, like you might have all these dreams and aspirations, but Elon wealthy is like showing that's really who he is. Life success, to go back just a step, I have amazing parents, and I was super fortunate to grow up in an environment where my father was an entrepreneur, but also my mother was an entrepreneur. Both of them started businesses. Both of them ran successful businesses. And I learned so much about just like the life operating system through them, that I was super fortunate. I feel like I had a jump start where a lot of people did not, and it wasn't really my college education or formal education anyway that led me to where I am. Really it was the life education, and really just some basic principles that were huge for me. Is I had a father who understood and had a great relationship with fear. He left his corporate job to try to pursue what was his dream. And I watched him do it. And sometimes he was successful. Sometimes we were extremely poor as a family, and sometimes we were wealthy. And I watched that. And he also was also present in my life. And so I saw this great dad who also had the ups and downs of the entrepreneurial journey. And so for me, while he probably looks back on those periods of time and he probably says to himself, I never want to go back to those low moments. I look at those low moments and I think, what's the worst that can happen if I go all in? I end up spending time with my family. I end up having a good relationship with my kids, right? He really had a great relationship with fear and taught me and gave me a great gift. And that is to understand, what to truly fear, right? Like, the fear of loss is really not something we should fear. Sometimes in loss, it brings us our greatest opportunity. The greatest times I ever had with my father was when we were at the lowest point financially, right? So to me, it's just like watching a person navigate that and experiencing that really helped me deal with fear. He really had a great relationship with fear and taught me and gave me a great gift. And that is to understand, what to truly fear, right? Like, the fear of loss is really not something we should fear. Sometimes in loss, it brings us our greatest opportunity. The greatest times I ever had with my father was when we were at the lowest point financially, right? So like, to me, it's just like watching a person navigate that and experiencing that really helped me deal with fear. The second thing that he taught me is really ego is the enemy. My dad is a quiet leader who is not going to be an alpha, beat his chest. You're never going to find him on social media touting his wares. He was a guy who led from the back, who was never afraid of picking up the shovel himself, who was quiet, and his actions and his results always far outspoke his words or the volume of his voice. The thing I learned from my mother, though, was gratitude. And that, I had suffered quite a bit of loss in my younger life. I lost a sister, then later lost a brother. And my mom, just a very strong, an emotionally aware person, constantly bring me back towards this point of gratitude. She would say, Eddie, like, tell me about, I would struggle with the loss of my sister. And she would say, Eddie, let's talk about your sister. Let's talk about your favorite day. Let's talk about what was your favorite moment. And then she would help me rehearse gratitude, even in loss. And if I could find gratitude in the low moments, they become catalysts for massive growth.